Hey guys, it's Matthew here, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. Just a commentary while I play some Rust, because, I don't know, I'm frustrated. Have you guys seen the news lately in regards to what's happening with the US? It was happening before in Australia, it started happening in the UK, but apparently now in the US as well, they're trying to push a law very quickly, mind you, to make it so you require face identification now on the internet. I don't know about you, but like I grew up in the early 2000s. I had my life basically on Facebook, had my life over on Discord, and everything else. Like you can probably find me when I was 8 years old doing Facebook and looking at different posts and stuff and playing those different video games. And to think that now, yeah, sure, Facebook took all my data, it's like, well, that's kind of creepy. You know, I wish I knew as a kid, but then again, I never posted anything that was kind of cringe. Or maybe I did, I don't know. But then to just continue off with that, and nowadays you fast forward and it's like, kids nowadays are not going to be allowed to use the internet at all unless you have, for example, the age of 18 requirement by showing us your ID. Okay, that's great. Let me just show you my ID and let me use the internet, right? Well, recently there was even another issue that happened where essentially 1 million passports, I think it was, got leaked. Now, we're supposed to be giving all of our data over to these companies and saying, yeah, sure, you know, no problem here, take it. You know, I trust that you'll take care of me, essentially, but then it never happens. Then no matter what essentially goes on inside of the world, our data gets leaked. I read all the time inside the news that say 100 million accounts were compromised, or say 50 million usernames, passwords were compromised, or such, all because of a data leak. But you never get anything because of it. They never give you like, oh hey, here's $40 because now your full name, phone number, street address, all that got leaked. You know, the company never shuts down. They just make a news announcement about it, at least to the public, it looks like it, and now it's onwards with your day. And so for us, when I hear something like, hey, now, next thing you know, we're going to have to be giving all this information and it's going to be required. I mean, it passed in the House and now it has to pass in the Senate. It just really makes me double think. And so lately, for example, as you guys have seen on this channel, and super awesome, by the way, we're about to hit 500 subs, but every single thing that I've been trying to do is self-host, 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 self-host. And I thought about it, and it made me realize that the reason why I don't care about so much other stuff is because I never thought it could truly be trusted. I never ever used Google Calendars because I knew that at the end of the day, Google could see all my calendars. So I never really cared about it. I never really cared about having documents and such on my computer for the exact reason that I'm sure the telemetry data was broadcasting some sort of information that I didn't care for. But then I started looking into other things, and it's like, we used to watch Netflix and we would stream it and everything else, but nowadays you start to realize that the same TV shows that you're watching, or movies rather, once they're gone off of Netflix, say 2-3 years later, you don't have access to them again. You never have access to your content. It's the same thing with all these books and this media and all the music you're listening to on YouTube or whatever else. What truly do you have that you actually own? And realistically, that's your single player games that you have from what? Steam? I mean, even Ubisoft and these other companies are basically saying all you have is a license, and it's looking like the same thing's going to happen with GTA 6, to which we're not even going to technically be owning the game, but rather just a license of it. So, I mean, if we're just going to be owning a license, then we're not actually owning the game. We just are owning some form of access to it, which is just, I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense. I mean, think about it right now, right? You have your own computer, and that's great and all, but look at the RAM prices that are going up every single day. I mean, I had a SSD card that I bought, I think it was about a year ago, for like 150 euros, and now I looked at the same SSD card yesterday because I was thinking about getting another one, and it's going on $700 or euros. Like, what the hell? So soon enough, what happens when, for example, everyone who are on the poorer side need to have some form of computer or device? They're not going to be able to just buy it. They're going to have to rent it. And in addition to that, when I was younger, I would watch my parents, for example. We would have one big computer in the house, and that's the one we would all use. My mother had to put on a credit card even at one point because we just couldn't afford it. Well, what's going to happen now when you have these folks who are putting, say, 20-30% interest on their computers, selling it to the consumers? Now you're going to be paying off that computer the entire time. I mean, shit, they're doing the same with their phones right now, trying to make it like it's a normal thing with T-Mobile and every other popular mobile company right now. Being, oh yeah, it's not a problem, it's completely normal, this is what people do nowadays. Well, soon enough you're going to be renting your own computer. So I started looking into, for example, the information that Discord takes from you, or Reddit. And I mean, Reddit's just ridiculous when you look at it. They take literally everything. Your phone, your OS, what you're doing on your phone, your full name, your street address. Basically as much information as is possible. I mean, hell, I was looking at a movie theater recently as well, just reading their privacy notice because I was curious. And they literally take your biometric data. Why? Why does a movie theater need to know my biometric data? Why do they even need to know my phone number in the first place? It just doesn't make sense nowadays anymore. I mean, you go to a grocery store, and every single grocery store that you go to literally says, hey, have you installed our app yet? And you're like, no. And they're like, oh, okay, well, then you don't get our discounts. Here, let me just use my code for you, and then you get the discounts because the person was nice. But otherwise, from a company perspective, that's not what they want the person behind the cash register to be doing. They want you to make an account. And then recently there was a post made stating that they just track you now inside of a grocery store based off of your phone, because they can track the phone, if you will, and then they just create a profile on you as well. And then with all these flock cameras that are coming up in the States, you can't really go anywhere. It's blowing up in every single corner. So, I mean, even if you go inside operating systems, I'm not trying to make this too long for anyone who's just listening, but even if you go inside operating systems and you look at what Discord's going, why do I have to go and essentially have all my data taken from me every time I'm using Windows? Every single time, just because I want to run an exe program. The only thing that's holding me back in terms of having my main operating system being on Linux is because I can't run exe files. Like, sure, I can use Wine, but what happens when, for example, I want to play Rust? Now, even the Rust creators are like, we don't like Linux. So it's clear that it's never going to happen for this game. Now, that being said, there's other popular games too, like League of Legends. I can't play that game either, because then next thing you know, their anti-cheat, that is practically malware, wants to look at my computer. And not just look at it, but see every single document and file and even take screenshots. Like, what? Is that even anti-cheat anymore at this point? Like, I don't even know. But I've just gotten tired of it. It's kind of exhausting, and here I am just doing Rust and trying to play and keep dying as I talk. But seriously, think about it. I mean, even right now, as I'm playing this game, imagine how much data is being sent. I mean, I'm playing on a modded server right now. Imagine I have an IP address, a MAC address being forwarded, but then in addition to that, I'm running on Windows. So all that data of me playing this game is going to Windows, then goes to the Windows Store, probably going to then recommend me games that are similar to Rust. I mean, if you look at the ads, for example, even so much on your phone, I didn't know this until I made a video on it yesterday. Apparently, you have your own ad ID that's inside your settings that you're supposed to, for example, reset or change. I never signed up for an ad. Or shall I say, ad ID for my phone. I think it gets worse, right? Because everything that you have is ran by Google. So God only knows what else they're able to see the entire time or listening in. I mean, I was using ChatGPT the other day, and I do modding, as some of you know, and I was looking at the difference between the two to see how it worked in terms of SQL, how it pushed with code, everything else. And I tried it with GPT, and then I tried it with Claude. And who would have guessed that Claude was at least 4 times better than GPT? Like, at first it wasn't, but now of course it is. And now you see, for example, that Google is approving and saying that all your photos are now being able to be used for its AI learning. So, of course, naturally, all the photos of yourself are being scanned. All your friends and families, your baby, everything else. I mean, someone just recently had their Google account banned because they had photos of their child on there and they got flagged for, CP. Like, what? And now they lost access to their entire account. Have you ever tried to get your account back from Google? I've tried. I had an account that I had a lot of communication on with friends, and I tried getting it back recently. I couldn't speak to one person. Not a single person I was able to actually talk to trying to get my account back. It was all through online forums and the chat bot, essentially, to try and communicate to get back. And guess what? 5 months later, I still didn't have it back. So it's basically impossible. And now we're starting to log in with these single sign-ons, SSOs. And so you go to a website, you sign on with that. What happens now when your Google's gone? You lose access to not only your Gmail, but every other platform / service that you're using just because Google doesn't like you anymore. What happens to, for example, you're reading your ebook on Amazon, and the next thing you know, they say that the Kindle that you got 5 or 10 years ago is no longer going to be supported, so you can't read the books anymore. Now you have to buy their $500, $600 new Kindle. The Kindle that you're using, by the way, that's just fine. Now you're not allowed to use it. Like, what? What the hell is going on? Like, none of us, every single one of us know for a fact that these RAM prices are never going to go back down. Not a single one of us believes that they will go down and be like, oh no, it's just a small time. Have you guys seen the prices, deal with toilet paper and such, on how much they dropped since COVID in a comparison to what they were beforehand? I mean, you can still see it. It's still there, even after all these years, and there's nothing happening anymore. So it's just gone ridiculous to the point now where every single thing you do, you're essentially being tracked. I mean, you'll install any sort of operating system on your machine. It has some form of data immediately being sent. I mean, even Linux, right off the bat, it tells you, hey, can I send diagnostic data? Like, you have to disable that. I don't remember exactly if it's pre-checked, but it's still there. And so you have to double check it to see if it actually is or isn't. And luckily, most Linux distros don't do anything like that. But it's just ridiculous. Most phones, iPhone or Android, nowadays Android Marketplace is saying, hey, no matter what developer you are, you have to tell us all about you. And then recently they were going to remove it to where you couldn't install third-party apps. So for example, my tunes that I was making, I wouldn't technically be able to give anyone it if I didn't want it to be on the App Store. And so people revolted essentially, slowly, against Google. But it didn't even matter to them realistically, because what's 100,000 people to them when they have the majority of the world at their hands? And now, of course, there's a button that you can press that's probably going to be in the corner of the entire phone somewhere that you just have to enable and wait an entire 24 hours. But fear not, then it'll always be activated. What's to say now they don't remove that button a couple months later and be like, oh, sorry. You can't even boot. You buy a phone, and you can't even change what operating system you want on it now. I mean, have you tried to, for example, switch over to like a Linux distro on your phone? You're tied to the operating system. You can't change from it. I mean, sure, there's Google Pixel out there. That's really cool. And I'll probably get myself a Graphene OS phone myself. But I'm one of those suckers who bought an S23 Ultra being like, heck yeah, the camera's amazing. The specs are actually really good. Like, why wouldn't I? And now I'm basically stuck being on this phone because I can't change from it, because obviously grabbing another phone is another couple $100. Like, why? Why is this so insanely difficult? all the way around. Why can't I just have a certain piece of machine and be able to repair it? But God forbid we'd be able to repair our own machines too at this point, right? Like the battery. No, nowadays when batteries die from phones, now all of a sudden you have to replace the entire phone. Can't just go to a repair shop and fix it. Nope. So nowadays, just because of all this drama, I've just been doing self-hosting. Now I have my own media player, so I can play my own music, and I'm actually going to be able to hold my own music and house it. So even if I lose it, I'm still going to have it on some sort of physical device. I now have some form or method, if you will, that allows me to be able to play TV shows and movies and be able to keep them now separately. But I shouldn't have to have to self-host all of this. It should just be a service that I can choose. And God forbid, if you want to actually go to, say, I don't know, Proton Mail or something, you can practically see the warning signs now. Sure, it's all great and all, but look how everything is there. Your VPN's there, your mailbox is there, your calendar's there, like everything's there. And now they're implementing AI into their code line. So what's going to happen next? They're making code that is questionable that all the masses are using. Like what? Don't get me started either with how much information is just being taken from Discord as well. It's absolutely ridiculous in terms of how much data just Discord steals from you on a 24/7 basis. Absolutely absurd. So now I'm looking into the other alternatives for Discord, but next thing you know, no one uses those really who are inside of a friend group. So then you can't really talk to each other. And then if you are that friend who's like, hey guys, let's go use Stoke. Let's go do it together. Now you're the weird guy who's like, bro, why do we have to use it just for you? Because it's not mainstream. It's like the same thing as tell your friends, go use Signal. Why are we using Signal? Why don't we just use WhatsApp? Well, because WhatsApp is created by Meta and all the information is constantly leaked. Didn't you guys see the guy who got banned from the United Arab Emirates or whatever because he made a meme inside of his private group chat that got scanned and now he's in trouble essentially? Or I think he went to prison anymore at this point. Like, come on. So I don't really know anymore. It's just gone to the point now where every single thing that happens on the internet, it's like the Wild West. Literally. It is literally like the Wild West, where anything outside of your own sphere of internet is just essentially you're going to get in trouble in some shape or form, no matter what you do. And it's going to get even worse coming up here because we see people getting arrested for even just saying things. People are outright getting arrested for memes or just speaking about how they feel about something negative. So, I don't know. That's pretty much my TED Talk of the world is one messed up place and it continues to get more messed up. I mean, I've heard so much negativity by literally just about every single person who I've come across right now that it's kind of starting to get at me in one shape or another. And the more I learn about cybersecurity and the more I realize just how much data is actually just being yoinked from us, it just makes me cringe. I mean, that's all that these AI bots essentially are. It's basically the entirety of the internet summed up into a machine and then being told to say, go find this. I mean, I'm sure you guys have talked to some pretty stupid AIs. You see the difference between the two. It's like a night and day, essentially, of being able to talk to Claude and then, say, trying to talk to some of these new AIs that you're self-hosting. I was trying to do the self-hosting route because of it, but oh my god, is there such a difference between the two. But maybe in, say, 5 years' time, it'll be different. Be able to scrape the internet a lot better, but we'll see. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much the end of this video. I'm not going to make it much longer. I just want to get a video out there because this sort of stuff is pissing me off. So, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care. And until then, I'm out of here. Maybe I'll make more content for him like this. I don't know. formed like this. There we go. Better English. See you guys.